Macklin said about him.
He cuts it off from distance, so you don't get close to you. It's not as if you feel the threat. You just he just cuts it off, and then he slides in and he's all over you.
Now Adama then, you know, not saying he won any rounds, but he was there. He was semi-competing until suddenly, in about round 6, he starts to get hurt and caught again. Now this knockdown, it's an interesting. Sanchez in Golovkin's corner shows him the 2 punches. Now I couldn't find it, but people swore they saw it. Let's study it closely, Barry. There's the shot, left uppercut.
It's well delivered, isn't it? It's off the same hand as well, with power. Now you can sometimes throw an uppercut and a hook, but one of them you have to lose a bit of power to get a bit of speed and a bit of fluency. He doesn't at all.
Now if that was a textbook or really hard to teach shot, the next shot he threw is in theory the easiest shot to throw. The next knockdown is the easiest shot to throw, but you seldom see it used like this. This is it, ding ding, start of round 7. Watch this. Look at his feet, boom, it's the shot. What was that? It's beautiful.
It's almost not a jab, but just a ramrod left, isn't it? It's almost just a straight left rather than a jab.
It's a low shot, isn't it?
Right from the chest, isn't it? So, listen, he does a lot of things well. What's most impressive of him is more than his power, is his judgment of distance, and his timing is exceptional.
Well, let's consider something here, okay? We just started the 7th round. He's been dropped with the first punch of the 7th round. He's been down 3 times, but it wasn't over then. He manages to stay on his feet for a bit longer until the referee really is left with no option but to get in and pull him out. Same from his own bravery. He's wobbling, he's teetering. That's enough.
Well, Golovkin started to turn the screws, and that's the good thing about Golovkin. He's so patient because he knows he can hurt you. He doesn't feel any need to rush his work and just takes his time. So where you think he's going to finish his fights early, he's happy to go some rounds without taking any damage and bashing you up. And in the end, either the guy quits, which you couldn't have blamed Adama for quitting, which he never, or the referee has to step in.
And of course, 18 odd months ago, Daniel Gill was pushed for 12 rounds in a world title defence against Adama. So he's not another bum, as people keep trying to tell me on Twitter. So what Barry thought we would do is we thought we'd be a little bit clever. We thought we'd have a little look at the list. Instead of just saying, oh, we can fight X, Y, and Z, we thought we'd examine the fighters and look at the pros and the cons. And of course, there's one big fighter out there for him. Let's have a look at the list. Let's start at the very top. There we go, Sergio Martinez, WBC champion, hasn't fought for an awful long while. Here's one of the 4s, why it should happen, because they're perfect rivals in the sense they're both big. Here's one of the against. It's the end of Martinez's career, and he'll probably be thinking, I don't need Golovkin, I can fight when he's got a couple of fights lined up, Barry, hasn't he?
Well, Miguel Cotto in June, I think, and that's the fight that he's going to have, a guy coming up in weight, mega money, because Cotto's still a big seller for HBO pay-per-view. He'd be a fool if he wanted to fight Golovkin, though, because Golovkin, as good as he is, and he does good figures on HBO, he's still not a huge name, is he? I don't think.
No, so, you know, it was Lou DiBella who said 18 months ago, why the asterisk, 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 hell, asterisk, 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 hell, do we need to fight asterisk, asterisk, hell, Golovkin? And he was right then. I'm not sure he's so right now, but I can see why Martinez is avoiding him. Let's have a look at who else is on the list. There we go, the current unbeaten WBO champion, Peter Quillin. Okay, this is one of the reasons why it could happen. In theory, it wouldn't break the bank to put it together. Against, they're on different channels. And in many ways, it's a brilliant trade fight. They're probably both one fight away from being truly big stars, in which case that fight becomes a monster fight. That fair comment, Barry?
It's a good fight. You know, obviously you think Golovkin's ahead, but they both need a marquee name to beat. Though Golovkin's beat Macklin, I think he needs a just slightly bigger name than that, and Quillin needs a big marquee name, and once they do that, even though they're different TV channels, they'll be drawn together inevitably.
Okay, here's one for you. I'm going to pull this one out of the hat. Have a look at this one, Barry. Tell me what you think about this guy. George Grimes. Don't laugh, I'll tell you why. First of all, he was ringside out there. Alright, okay, here's the 4s, okay? He's looking for a big fight, needs a big fight. Plus, him and Golovkin talked the other day. Sure, it would be a catchweight, and you know, I'm telling you, it's not big enough in America. But
no, over here.
I don't know. Let's say you have to have a George only got to lose 2 pounds. Gets down to 166. I
think George, now after such a great performance against Froch, I think whoever he fights is a big fight in the UK. And you know, he's there now, and Golovkin said he can move up, and George now at the moment he seems to be promotional free. He's pretty much caught in everyone he can, so that's a fight that's a real possibility.
I know, I thought for it. And now let's have a look at this one. This one's a big one, Barry. Here we go, Floyd Money Mayweather. Okay, obviously 4 Floyd needs a big one, a scalp. He got Alvarez at the right time. Would he be getting Golovkin at the right time? Against it, well, it's never really been mentioned by Floyd. Golovkin says he would drop down away, but my theory is this: it's quite simple. I think Golovkin is both too big and too small. Let me explain, Barry Jones. Let me explain. He's too big physically, okay, but he's at the same time too small commercially. Discuss.
He is too small commercially, but the thing about when Mayweather fights, it's all about Mayweather. It's the Mayweather show. So they and with those 24/7 things they do, they can turn that around and make Golovkin be the monster that we think he is. Well, we think he is in the ring.
In the ring, but he's not outside.
Oh, they'll make it the East versus the West, won't they? Most definitely. They make a big thing about
like
that.
Drago and Rocky and stuff.
I know you like to mention Rocky Balboa, the fictional character, but still, I think it's. I think, but if Golovkin comes down, he makes Golovkin go to 150 or 152, not 154.
You're absolutely right. You are so right.
He drains him right down.
Because if he's weighing at 147, he's not going to want to give away more than £2. What about this one? This one makes all the sense in the world, and this one I thought might be happening, might even be named soon. Let's have a look. There we go. Martin Morris, St Helens finest. Okay, first up, Martin needs a fight. The WBO would like it. He's already got a version, an interim version, I think, or maybe he hasn't got it anymore. It's a bit confusing, all the interims. Excuse me, Martin, if we got that wrong. Against, really, HBO want Golovkin in America, and that would be a fight that would make sense here. MEN Golovkin. We've got fans in this country who'll come out, Barry.
Though I think Matt Murray should be. He's already, in my eyes, WBC world champion. He beat Martinez. In my eyes, I won't have any out of the way. So no, if he would have got the decision he deserved, then this is a natural fight. But at the moment, I don't think Martin's even a big enough name over here. I hope I'm wrong to sell out. And I think he would have been boxing him in Monte Carlo on Saturday. That he would have been a perfect opponent for then. I think anywhere else it's hard to sell it.
But this would have been a bigger fight instantly last year, and back then, obviously Murray, as Jimbo Bentley has always pointed out, will pack his bag and travel. He's not afraid of getting on a plane or a train or a rickshaw.
He will, but the only way financially it would sell would have to be probably over here, you would have thought. And I just think, if he had that WBC title, which he should have, then that you could sell that. But at the moment, I think it struggles, and he struggles to get in America. It should have been that Saturday in Monte Carlo.
So if he had the WBC title, it would sell. What about if a guy had the IBF middleweight title? Would that sell? There we go, Felix Sturm. Big fight in Germany. He's based in Germany as well. Golovkin, Felix Sturm's big in Germany. That's the four. Against HBO again, would prefer Golovkin over in America now. And Sturm doesn't need it, man. He can fight shadows and make money.
Sturm doesn't need it. The thing is, they have a lot of money in Germany, more than what people think. And I think, they could pay Golovkin. That's the difference with the Murray fight. I don't think they could afford to pay Murray to come over here, Golovkin to come over into the UK, but the Germans could pay for him to fight Sturm. So the HBO might opt out.
Yeah, but the Germans will make it worthwhile.
They can make it financially viable. So I think that's a realistic fight.
Okay, now here's one from left field. I like to always pull up a left field one. Let's have a look at this one. I like this one. I don't think it's ever going to happen. Although, oddly enough, let's put this one up. Oddly enough, this guy has been put on a short list for April 26th at Madison Square Garden. And he's going to come up in a second. You'll see this guy. You'll be a bit surprised. This guy is on the shortlist. There we go. James Kirkland. He's on the shortlist for Madison Square Garden on April 26th. Okay, they're both exciting fighters. They're both with HBO against, you never know, Kirkland might end up pricing himself out. This is a fight he should fall over to take. He's got to be a history with that, Kirkland.
Well, you could think so, because he's already had a big upset loss, hasn't he?
Exactly.
In his career, but he's come back on top. He's had some good wins.
Yeah.
And, I don't think he gives Golovkin any trouble, I don't. But he got a good record, 28 knockouts in 32 wins.
He's exciting.
It's an exciting fight, so you can see that fight happening. The Americans will eat that up.
Okay, what about this one? It's an easy one for Madison Square Garden. Let's see this one now. A bit of Aussie love in the house. There we go, Daniel Gill, former champion. It can be made. That's the four. Against, it could be seen as another, quote, easy fight for Golovkin. Well, it's not an easy fight. He's a guy that lost his title last year in a very tight fight against Darren Barker on a brilliant night for Darren. So there's nothing wrong with that, is there?
There's not. I just think, stylistically, there's not the fight that blows away the imagination, I don't think. Because he'll come at you, Gill. And I think he makes an easy night work for Golovkin. No, I think Gill's a good fighter. I think he's suited. Styles make fights. I think he's suited for Golovkin. I don't think it sells at all.
Now here's one I particularly like, and this one I don't think will happen. but because I think he'll go the other way. Let's have a look at this one. One of my favourite human beings. There he is, the Son of God, SOG, Andre Ward. He truly must be the Son of God. Okay, here's the good. They're both with HBO. Okay, they both need a big fight, but here's the bad. I think quite sensibly that Ward will go up to light heavy. I think he can mess around, not necessarily full-blown light heavy. He doesn't need to be full-blown light heavy to beat those guys. He's
going to light heavy to chase the big matches. I think the bigger matches for him in light heavy with Stevenson, Kovalev, and obviously Bernard Hopkins, who will never go away. I think there's more money there than there is Golovkin. But it's a good fight. But I think Ward is all wrong for Golovkin.
I think Ward is all wrong for Golovkin, and Abel Sanchez is an astute cookie. Yeah. He won't be. Listen, he'll take fights he can win. And I tell you what, of the ones we've mentioned tonight, that'll be the one he'll think, I don't need that. The risk isn't worth the reward. Let's look at the final 10 on the number 10 on our list of 10. Let's have a look at him here. One of our friends here. There he is, Andy Lee. Okay, it's an easy fight to make, in my opinion. Lee's not been that active, and I'm sure he'd like it. Would it be hard to sell to the fans? I mean, is that in America? Are we being a bit harsh with that hard sell to fans?
I think it's a little bit now. He sort of moved away from the States and over here. And I think when he was having a little bit of role, because he's been a little bit inactive now, they forget about you quick, don't they? And I think that's the reason why. But it's a good fight to make. Listen, you don't give Andy's a good fighter. Style-wise, upright, you don't give him much of a chance because of his upright style, but he makes a good fight. It's exciting. Listen, and the Irish fans in America, if they can rally that up.
Yeah, I mean, that's a class. You know, I've got to be honest with you, that would be my outside tip. I'd have a cheeky couple of quid on that for being the April 26th fight at Madison Square Garden. In the small hall downstairs.
I think, and some guy didn't make the list. I gotta say it. There's two guys who didn't make the list.
Go on.
Alvarez.
Yeah. I think that's big. I think that's later in the year. I think that's a good fight.
He's moving up the middleweight one time. That's a fight. And also Julio Cesar
Chavez
Jr. Yeah, I think that fight is that fight's got it. That's good.
Because I think Golovkin's already bashed up Chavez.
Yeah, sparring apparently. Yeah, I was there.
So Barry, we've gone from 10 to 12 thanks to Barry Jones. Now, one of the guys who was on that list, and that list was in no particular order, it was just a random selection of 10 possible future opponents, was Martin Murray, who joins me on the line now. First of all, good evening, Martin. First impressions of watching the Golovkin win on Saturday night?
Yeah, just typical Golovkin performance. I thought strong, powerful. Looked like he was coursing a bit, but he could afford to with that. Lad who he fought to was he's just running his league really.
Yeah, he manages to do that with fighters as good as Adam, or even fighters slightly better. Martin, what's the situation with you maybe getting closer to a Golovkin fight? Because you were meant to be fighting on that bill, then that fell out of bed, the fight with Jared Fletcher. In theory, we all seem to think that was a semi-final to get you towards Golovkin. Have you had negotiations, or have your people had negotiations with Golovkin?
To be honest with you, Steve, the situation I'm in is I've not got a clue. I really don't know what's happening, mate. I'm kept in the dark with everything. As Richard Schaefer pointed out when he tried the Peter Quillin fight for me, which I didn't know until the opportunity had passed. So I couldn't tell you, mate. I really don't know. It's like I said, I'm kept in the dark over everything. But you know, it is a possibility, and it is a fight I would take if the deal was right.
So if the deal was right, you would, in theory, jump at the April 26th fight at Madison Square Garden, or?
No, well, not so much that, mate, because obviously I've got visa issues in America, haven't I? So
yeah, of course.
So that
is there an attempt to get those sorted, though, Martin?
Well, I've not been told that I'll never get it.
Okay.
Just when I went for it first time a few months ago, I got it refused.
Right, mate.
So I can try again in a couple of months, mate. So I mean, there's nothing to suggest that I'll ever get it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not one of them where they have to keep me out of the country for danger reasons, you know.
Of course, I know.
He doesn't do anything like that. It's just a stupid little minor things. And the way it is with her system where they don't let people in with criminal records, that's the situation I'm in. But I think I'll get in, Steve. You know, there's nothing that says I won't get in. I really do think I'll get in. So hopefully the sooner I get in, the better. And then there's some big fights and the lightning type of fights in America.
Yeah, well, there's been British licence holders in the last year with criminal records that have managed to overturn initial decisions and get in. Mike, let me take you back to Monte Carlo at the weekend. I've asked you what you felt when you were watching Gennady Golovkin. What was going through your head when you were watching Gerald Fletcher and Max Bursa? And if you could keep it clean, because this is a family show.
To be honest with you, mate, I looked at them and I just thought, you know, I know my level above them type of fighters, so I was just thinking it would have been a easy night to work, to be honest with you. And that second, you know, that second knock away from Fletcher, who won all both fighters, not disrespecting them, but I know I'm a better fighter than them two, so I just thought, mate, that if I'd have been there fighting, yeah, it'd have been a lot. It'd have been a lot harder fight for him and an easier fight for me.
You know what, Martin? I can tell from your voice how frustrated you are. Listen, I wish you all the best to get back in the ring as soon as possible. Get straight back in, you know, right at the very top where you belong. Where you belong, absolutely, where you belong. And
I'll get there, mate. Nice one.
And then let's hope we have you in a world title fight, a winning world title fight here on Box Nation very soon. Martin Murray, thanks for taking the time to join us this evening. Thanks, Martin. Clearly, well, he couldn't say much for various reasons, but as he said, he doesn't really know. But sounded a bit flat there, didn't he? And that's really sad, because you say last April he took on the impossible task, and he came away with nothing when, you know, he could have. You know, I thought Martinez just nicked it that night, but I thought there was nothing in it. No, I did.
I can't have it. I can't have it. I can't at all. I just can't see how anyone can see that.
But no fighter, having done what he's done, deserves to be where he sounds now.
It's inactivity. He sounds depressed, because it's not as if he's lost, but it's not as if he's lost anything in respect for anyone, or even in stature where he is in the world. You know, he hasn't lost anything that way. He should be flying now, shouldn't he? Coming off really a career best performance, even though he unjustly lost. And I think he might have to step down a level to further his career.
No, he's tried that already since then. What the problem is at the moment with Martin Murray is he hasn't got the inspiration, he hasn't got the incentive. You know, if Martin Murray's in a really hard world title fight, he's going to get up. If Martin Murray's fighting a guy that's floating around in the top 20 that really shouldn't be there, he's not going to get up. We've already seen that.
But no, if you can't get the visa to America, because that's the Quillin fight out the window. Yeah. They're all out the window. Sturm is obviously a possibility, maybe.
Yeah,
again, you know. But does he want that? And then what else? Where does he go? I think he might have to go down a level. Try and pick up a European title.
But it's hard, isn't it, bro? You know it's hard. Shot. But you know it's hard then to motivate yourself.
It's hard, and sometimes some people would quit rather than do that. But it just seems really don't know where to go. It's a travesty.
You know what? It is a travesty. Martin Murray there giving us his thoughts on Gennady Golovkin, Gerald Fletcher, and Max Bursak. We've looked at the 10 or so, or 12, Barry added 2 guys that may, in theory, be up next for Gennady Golovkin, and we're going to try and speak to another one a little bit later in the show. But before we go to the break, let me just tell you that we ran a competition between about 5:30 and 6:45. I think about 1,000, just over 1,000 people entered to try and win pairs of tickets to watch the fights at the Copper Box on Feb 15th. That's definitely closed now. Thanks for your interest. I've got your 3 winners. I'm going to be doing it very soon in the show, along with we're going Skype crazy here on Box Nation. But right now, having looked at, analysed, reflected and dissected Mr. Golovkin, see you in 90 seconds. Oh yes, the Copper Box on the 15th of February. This is what the people have been trying to win tickets for. Derek Delboy Chisora against Kevin Kingpin Johnson. Tyson Fury against Gonzalo Omar Basile. And Frankie Buglioni against Gaetano Nespro. 2 Italians I like to think about there. That's Tyson Fury finally boxing on Box Nation. This Saturday, I'm not quite sure what time it starts, but there is a look back at Tyson Fury's last 7 fights. Not a 20-minute look back. It'll probably last about 3 or 4 hours. I'll try and post the times of that on Twitter, or the Box Nation Twitter account will give you the details. Derek Chisora also on that bill, plus Kevin Kingpin Johnson, who is, in his own way, a bit of a handful. He ain't easy to tie down, brother. He's not. They're big boys. Kingpin Johnson was for a brief period, maybe, arguably, just for about a 6-month, 9-month, 10-month period, the best heavyweight in America. Now, there's a sort of bit of a leading list, Bermain Stavern, etc. I know he's based up in Canada and living in Vegas or whatever it is. And of course, Deontay Wilder, Chris Arreola, we like Arreola. Of course, Eddie Chambers, who's now training out with the Furies, who will be ringside on the 15th, working alongside myself and Jim Rosie Rosenthal. They'll all be there. We'll be gathered at the Copper Box. Now, there's one other young kid in America who's making a bit of a name for himself. He's approachable. He's nice to chat to. He's out there pushing it. Plus, he loves to throw around a few insults. There's a young kid called Gerald Washington. Well, I managed to go onto Skype earlier on. It was better than when we tried to do it with Steve Lillis, because that was an absolute disaster. But we managed to do it properly. So this is what happened when Bunce, Box Nation and Skype and Gerald Washington all got into the same mix. Take a look at this. Gerald, thanks for joining us from your gym there. It looks very relaxed. Tell us exactly where you are in America at the moment.
I'm in Burbank, California.
And I'm assuming it's nice weather there.
It's beautiful.
Now Gerald, you're unbeaten as a heavyweight, correct? When are you boxing next?
I'm just waiting on the date right now. I just got done with a fight on January 24th out in Fantasy Springs by Palm Springs, California. Mm-hmm. I had a 5th round TKO. I scored a 5th round TKO, and I'm just waiting on my team to organize my next fight for me.
Now, your history is in NFL. In fact, it's with the Seahawks, who, of course, had that very lucky win over Denver this weekend in the Super Bowl. They were so lucky. When did your football career end and your boxing career start?
Well, I didn't really I didn't play in the NFL like that. I made it to a couple of some OTAs.
Yep.
And mini camps and stuff like that. I never actually played in an NFL game, but I did sign as a free agent to the Buffalo Bills, and then I went to mini camp with the Seahawks there for a little bit.
And so that was what, when you were 21, 22?
No, see what I did. I went to the Navy for 4 years. After graduating from high school, I went to the Navy for 4 years, and I spent my time there. After that, I went to a junior college, and then I earned a scholarship to the University of Southern California. I played football there. And I graduated from there in 2009, so I was already a little older because I went to the Navy.
Sure.
When I got out of school, I was 27 years old, going to the NFL and stuff. And when that didn't pan out for me, that's when I got back into boxing.
So had you boxed previously as an amateur then, Gerald?
Yeah, I grew up boxing. I started boxing when I was 7 years old. I used to go to an after-school program when my mother would be at work, and I used to go hang out over there. And then I'd do boxing after school.
So in many ways, you're different than all of those other NFL guys that take up boxing, the Mark Gastineaus, the Michael Grants. You were a boxer before you tried to play American football.
Yes, I was a boxer and a tennis player, and then I started playing football after.
Yeah, you just like that tennis thing because it's that whole Californian thing, man. I
love tennis. I grew up playing tennis. My mother and my father, they're both big tennis fans, and I'm looking forward to take my mom over there and taking her to Wimbledon.
Well, listen, one day you can do that, I'm sure. Now, Gerald, the heavyweight scene in America, I think it's fair to say, is wide open. There's a few guys that are closer to the top, Arreola, Deontay Wilder, Bermain Stavern, but really, there's a lot of open space there for a man to make an impression. You've got to convince me, Gerald, that you're the man to make that impression.
Definitely, I'm bringing a lot to the table. We're working hard over here. We got the right management, and we got the right athlete, and I got the right trainer. Everything is in place right now, and we're just working hard to get to that position. It's right now. We have to kind of earn our stripes right now. I feel I could compete with all those guys at the top and do well. It's just a matter of putting myself in position that way I can fight with those guys. You just need some more rounds. You need those hard 10 and 12 rounds where guys don't fall over when you hit them. I got the experience. I just need to be put in that position. So I have to, in order to be put in that position, I have to get a couple more fights and improve my ranking and stuff like that. That way they can't turn me down. They can't say no. And Gerald, for people that have never seen you fight before, haven't downloaded your stuff on YouTube, what's Gerald Washington's main asset? What's your best weapon? Everything is a weapon. I'm dangerous in there. But I have real good. I like to lean on my defense. You can't hit me, you can't hurt me, you can't win. I
Well,
rely on that. I rely on that, and then I box you until I catch you, and then when I catch you, then I'll take you out.
Well, listen, Gerald, that's good enough for me. Thanks for joining us here on Box Nation. We'll do regular updates. See how you go. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Gerald Washington, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, that was a bit earlier on. Now, you can't hit me. You can't hurt me. You can't win. I'm dangerous. Everything I've got is a weapon. So speaks Gerald Washington, formerly American footballer, wannabe NFL player. Barry, but the history isn't rich of NFL players that have made it.
Well, and the most recent one is Seth Mitchell.
Yeah, I really felt for him.
Who was athletic
and game,
but didn't know what to do when he got hurt.
Yeah.
That's the thing about him. He's a tough guy, but he didn't know what to do when he got hurt. And that's boxing schooling, especially from the amateur pedigree, where you take a rest, or you say your prayers when you're getting hurt, or you use your feet to get out the way. They
freeze up.
They're natural instincts, but also instincts that you learn over time from box from a young age, and they don't have that.
And that, you get that, as you say, 11 or 12 or 13 or 14 if you start then. And that is one thing that I would defy any coach to tell me he can teach. You cannot teach instinct.
Do you know the hardest thing to get used to in boxing? It's not getting punched. Having punches thrown at you. Not even getting hit. It's the weirdest thing, having punches thrown at you. And it's okay with you. That's where you have to start when you're young. Because you start when you're 10, 11. People can't punch hard then. So you get used to it. Having punches thrown at you, you get used to it. Comfortable in that environment. Then when people start to punch hard and better, you get more used to having things. You don't panic.
And it's that key thing about panicking, because you saw Seth Mitchell, the way it transpired with Seth Mitchell, and even with Michael Grant, the other NFL, and the other American footballer. We keep saying NFL. It's like they all played for Chelsea or Arsenal. Or something. the other American footballer convert, and of course, what they do when they panic is they just start throwing punches.
They could, because they used to combat like that. And there's also another thing that people do when they used to punch thrown at you is they stand high. And they turn away. You go up and away, where you actually got to go low, and if anything, more into it, if you like.
Of course, got to push forward. Barry Jones there talking about the problems that fighters face when they take up boxing late in life. We might do a competition once for you to give us the best fighters who took up boxing past the age of 21. Not now. Don't start tweeting in. There has been an awful lot of action on Twitter, and we will be giving out the winners and their winning suggestions to the competition to win the pairs of tickets to watch the boxing at the Copper Box on the 15th of February. That's going to be coming up in a moment. But right now, though, we're going to do a little feature that we introduced a while back, in fact, the start of this year. We're just going to do a straightforward thing which we call news. Box Nation News. Yes, we are, and we're going to start with the latest from Floyd Mayweather's camp and what he's decided to do. There's Floyd there with his cheerleaders in the background, smashing up Alvarez, who was unbeaten. That's a good fight. He made about 60 million. What he's decided to do is he said, "Okay, you, my fans, you tell me who you want me to fight. Do you want me to fight Marcus Madonna, or do you want me to fight Amir Khan?" So you have to let him know via Twitter, I'm assuming, who you want him to fight. Well, there's a problem with that, Barry, isn't there?
Well, I don't think Showtime would be too happy about that, because they want the most marketable fight out there, don't they, really? And because you would think people in the trade will want Maidana. You would think, especially over in the States, because after his great win over Broner, who's meant to be the carbon copy of Mayweather.
Baby brother.
Yeah, supposedly, idiot. But I'm not a fan, I know. So I think that I think that's the fight that they will go for. We will see.
So it won't be over Khan.
Well, you wouldn't have thought so. I think British fans will go for Khan because it's a British interest, isn't it? We want to see Amir Khan. We want to see a British guy try and beat Mayweather, don't we, for sure?
But you just say, so if you are voting there, just think about that before you start voting. Saying, "Oh, I want to see Madonna in the ring with Mayweather." What about Amir? He's already bashed out Madonna. Did you forget that? Anyway, the second item of news this week is just confirming what we've been talking about for a long while. Yeah, it looks like it, Big Enzo Mac. It looks like this is done and dusted, his fight against Jürgen Bremer for the WBO light heavyweight title on April the 5th, the night after we're in Belfast for the sellout, which will be an absolute sellout. It's as good as sold out now between the two of us. I think the only tickets available are the tickets that the boxers have to sell themselves. That's obviously the Carl Frampton world title final eliminator. Big Enzo's going to get his chance. It's done now. He's going to get it. He's happy.
Brilliant. It's unbelievable. I'm over the moon for it. It's unbelievable. And who would have thought that? Like even as early as last year, no one would have thought that Enzo was the other. Listen, people are screaming for him to retire. No, he's going to be fighting for a world title, and I said to you, didn't I, earlier on, that he's grown, even though he's gone down in weight, he's grown into the weight.
Yeah, because he got down, he looked a bit shaky.
Yeah, he looked a bit wobbly.
Now he's solid. Now, Barry, on the subject of guys suddenly getting titles that maybe you didn't expect, news finally that Vladimir Klitschko's found a new opponent. Who is it?
Alex Leopold. I know his stuff, but he beat Boistov, who Boistov was meant to be fighting.
Yeah, he's unbeatable.
Unbeaten,
massacre merchant.
And he beat him, well. So, even though he's not a big name, and people rightly will criticise it, he beat the man who was meant to fight Klitschko next. So he gets his chance. So that's April the 26th. That'd be a big show in Germany. He got no chance of winning, but it's a big occasion for him.
Here's the thing with a big Samoan. I think he's a Samoan who's based in New Zealand. He's not that big. He's only 6 foot, but he's a lumpy old thing. He'll give it a go. He may go down quick, but he'll give it a go. Plus, I'm telling you, and I'm going to throw something at you now, I know a Tongan, sounds like a song called Pia Wolfgram, who, I'll tell you what, came within a whisper of beating Vladimir at the Olympics. Of course, Vladimir smashed him to bits when they were pros. Anyway, final piece of news, Barry, there's one more section of news here, I'm going to have to go to it. Billy Joe Saunders on the subject of middleweights. Looks like he might be getting a WBO eliminator, maybe against Lucas Konecki. Is he for the Czech guy?
Yeah, well,
that may be coming up soon. April-ish?
Well, yeah, but we had Konecki on here boxing, losing by Sangaroff, didn't we? Losing a title. I tell you what, he's tough, he's strong. He's been a former European champion at light middleweight. He beat Matthew Hall for the European title, actually, and he's done a better job with Matthew Hall than Billy Joe Saunders did. Stylistically, he's made for Billy. He'll come right at him. But he will continue to come right at him. That's the difference. He won't let up.
Well, if Billy Joe goes through with that, and if it is April, and if it is an eliminator for the WBO middleweight title, the man that the winner, let's hope it's Billy Joe Saunders, will have to meet is the man who's on the line now. A man that also made our long shortlist for a possible Gennady Golovkin opponent. He is all the way from New York. Kid Chocolate, Peter Quillin. Peter, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Boxing Nation, for having me on. I appreciate the love and the support.
No, it's absolutely fantastic. Now, Peter, you and I talked on Twitter a couple of days ago, and you were rightly a bit sort of upset that everybody seems to be suggesting that nobody wants to fight Golovkin. Set the record straight, Peter.
Business is not right with Golovkin. I don't have to go to a network that's supporting a fighter when the network is already supporting me. Showtime is giving me healthy paydays, giving me exposure on the network, and Golovkin has his people doing the same thing, so there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the problem is when it comes to, like, a fight with me and him, it's going to take a lot of business to come together to get the fight done. But, it's a very important fight, very intriguing fight at a middleweight, but, right now the business is not together for the fight to ever happen. And, I will keep my hopes high to be able to put on those kind of performance with those kind of fight marquee names because Peter Kid Chocolate is not running from anybody. Peter Kid Chocolate has a group of people that is making sure that every business that come our way is the right business for Kid Chocolate.
Yeah, and that makes absolute sense, and that's exactly what we said about 10 minutes ago on this show, that the main stumbling block was that you were over here with Showtime and he's over there with HBO, and you're both doing your own business. So now that we've established that fight's not going to be happening anytime soon, Peter, Kid Chocolate, tell us what's happening in your career. When are you out next, or when might you be out next?
Man, I was looking to be back by March, April. It's just all in terms of what my team is making sure that we got playing. Showtime is putting on some good fights over there on the network. With a lot of the American fighters. Not to say that we're not supposed to have any European guys or any other guys outside the country fight, but for the most part, Showtime is getting a healthy opportunity for a lot of different guys to be on the network and put on good fights, and that's what Kid Chocolate is looking to do. But other than that, I've just been keeping hungry. I've been just keeping fresh. I've been keeping myself spiritually together, and I'm just trying to be the best that I can be.
Yeah, and in all fairness, Peter, that's about the best that anybody can try to do. But you must look at the bigger picture, and you must say, look at Sergio Martinez. Okay, I know he's not with you there, and looking across at Golovkin, and looking at some of the money that some of the guys are going to make and are making, and you must be thinking, kid, that man, I fancy a little bit of that money.
Well, let's just say Kid Chocolate. Everybody wants to fight Kid Chocolate. Kid Chocolate has this light that no other middleweight has on him. Golovkin has a lot of to stout from, putting on a good performance knockout with guys we don't know about and all that. But for the most part, you see my face everywhere. A lot of people fucking with the champ right now. I'm enjoying myself. I'm having fun. And I'm
you look like it.
Staying humble.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. You look like, when you're in the ring, you look like you're having fun.
Yeah, man, that's most importantly. Like, nobody could take that away from me. And I'm just glad to be able to be showcased with a lot of different things. If you guys see me on Love and Hip Hop, not to sound too cocky.
Peter, we seem to be losing you a little bit there. Peter, I'm going to tell you now, and I hope you can hear me. It's been a delight having you on, and I know you've been patient waiting for us for over an hour. But Peter Kid Chocolate Quillin, undefeated WBO middleweight champion of the world. Thank you so much, Peter. He's gone. Top man. Hey, we got him in the end, okay? And so we had a few sound problems. We still managed to get the WBO middleweight champion of the world, Peter Quillin, and he did get a little bit upset last week, and understandably so, because the suggestion is, in many ways, that people don't want to fight Golovkin, as we've already talked about a bit earlier in the show. Pete Quillin, obviously not going to be fighting in March. We thought he might be on that. Is it Danny Garcia bill?
That Puerto Rican bill. Yeah, they was told that he might try and get him on there. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But they got a lot of dates, so they obviously spread, because that card is stacked.
It is stacked
already. So they're looking for the dates.
Barry loves a stacked card through the night. He gets on that sofa, him and Lillis with their cheese biscuits, and they survive all night. We've still got plenty more to come in here, including the 3 winners of the pairs of tickets for the Copper Box on the 15th. They're coming up soon. We hear from Barry McGuigan soon, and we hear from Carl Frampton soon about that fight back at the Odyssey on April the 4th. Thanks for being with us. See you in about 90 seconds. Yeah, I've been mentioning it all night. The Odyssey Arena will be rocking. Half the tickets sold out within a day. That's on Friday the 4th of April. A final eliminator. Not an eliminator, not a fight to move closer to a title. Final eliminator. Carl Frampton, unbeaten. Formerly known as Brickfist, now known as the Jackal, against Hugo Cazares, former double world champion from Mexico. That will be a massive night. A very big night. Now, I spoke to somebody inside Team McGuigan today. There's an awful lot of them, and what they were telling me was, Steve, we've got a problem here. We need a bigger arena. And in fact, Barry McGuigan joked at the weekend that he wished that there was a full roof on the Aviva Stadium down in Dublin, which would probably put it up to about 90,000. But hey, I think he was only half joking. In fact, he may not have been joking at all, to be honest with you. In fact, I think he was actually telling the truth. It was a bit of a desire. The one whole thing with this show is that what the problem they've got, and it's a lovely problem to have, is that loads of other Irish fighters contact them to try and get on the bill, and of course they all want X amount of tickets, and they have to give them those tickets. You can't have really good young fighters on there. Conrad Cummins is going to be on there, but his second fight, his first fight's going to be in Britain on Feb 22nd at York Hall. Then he's going to fight back. He's going to fight in Belfast, his hometown, his home city, so to speak. It's going to be lovely. But he'll want some tickets to sell. Anyway, Barry McGuigan was there last week announcing the opponent, and we sent a team along, which sounds very bold. Anyway, Ruth Gorman got hold of Barry.
Well, we managed to secure the final eliminator for the mandatory spot for the WBC Super Bantamweight title. So it's coming to Belfast. There was talk about it going to Mexico, and we had to fight to make sure that it didn't go there, and it was also going to be on a big bill in America. We tried to get it off that, so now we've secured it, and it's been fantastic, and we've had to go the extra mile, but we have it here for the Belfast fans. And we're out on the 4th of April, the weekend that Ulster Rugby team play on the Saturday, so great opportunity for people to have a complete sporting weekend and go to the fights. And we're going to have a bumper on the card, and it's going to be riddled with title fights. So yeah, fantastic. I'm thrilled, and it's taken a long time, a lot of hard work, and a lot of money. We're here.
How frustrating was it? I know you were in negotiations with Keiko. Is this a better fight than the Keiko fight?
And this is, we're going for the WBC title, and if you think about it, the IBF title, we feel a little bit let down that we had to we strung along and told that we were going to fight, and the Kiko genuinely wanted to fight us. We believed him, and we went out to Spain. We offered him an awful lot of money, and he turned us down, and so we realised that we had been strung along. So we ditched that idea. We didn't go into the mandatory spot for that. We decided we'd go straight down the WBC route, and Santa Cruz has said he wants to fight us next. So he's fighting Christian Mahares on the 8th of March, and he wants to fight us after that. And provided Carl can beat Hugo Cazares, who's very, very tough and very strong, and he can box and fight, and he's 2-weight world champion, so it's a really tough fight for him, and it's going to be difficult to look good against him because he can box and fight this guy. He can punch with the left hook, and he's no weight problems, and he's coming here to win, full of exuberance, and believes he can win. And he wants to fight Santa Cruz too, because that would be an all-Mexican affair. So we really have to get over the 4th of April, and Carl is to win impressively, and not just win, but win impressively. And I want him to blast this guy out, just walk him down and take him out, and that's going to be difficult, but I think he can do it. And then we're talking about Santa Cruz late summer.
Are there any concerns, Barry, that the fact that Kiko, obviously he knocked Kiko out in Belfast last year? Yep. Parody wasn't so much of a, it was a one-way street really as far as Carl was concerned. Is that a concern going into this fight? No, it's all in the preparation, Ruth. We prepare very hard, and we don't, we never underestimate opponents, and he never take our eye off the ball. As he mentioned in the press conference, he slightly underestimated Robbie Turley back in the early part of his career. He didn't look good. He struggled a bit in the middle rounds. We will never make that mistake again. I didn't make it, but he did in his mind. So he's got his eyes focused, his brain focused on April 4th, Friday, April the 4th, and he wants to win this fight. We will be studying Hugo Cazares meticulously, going over all of our tactical plan A, plan B, plan C, and he will do everything that's necessary to take this guy out. Carl is a banger, he can fight, he's getting much better at hunting guys down and taking them out, and he fights brilliantly on the defence as well.
You know what I love about Barry McGuigan is he is so competitive. All the way through the interview it was we, until he talked about the Turley fight where Carl had a harder night than normal, and then he said, I didn't make the mistake, he made the mistake, and he's absolutely right. You can only use the we so often. That was Carl that got his sums wrong that night, and they will never get them wrong again. Obviously Carl was there at that, extremely happy, extremely confident, extremely buoyant, and Ruth spoke to him too.
Well, Carl, it's been probably a frustrating time for you wanting the Kiko fight, but are you happy with this one now? Is this a better fight for you?
Yeah, this is the next best thing. We made Kiko a huge offer. I was in the meeting when the offer was made, which was a bit of a surprise to his promotional team, and I know what the offer was, and it was 10 times more than he was paid to fight me the last time, and that's no exaggeration. With a rematch if he wanted. And he turned it down. I'm pretty sure he's not getting an offer like that anywhere else. So we go after someone who genuinely wants to fight. Looking ahead, I think Leo Santa Cruz does want to fight me. He's mentioned me a couple of times, but in saying that, I'm not going to look past Cazares, because if I don't beat this guy, then there is no fight with Santa Cruz. But I'm one win away, I think. One win away from a world title.
Is there any concern at all that, you knocked Kiko out last year? It was an incredibly tough fight, but Parody was a bit more one way for you. Is that a concern for you at all? I know it's not to your team, is it to you?
No, not at all. I'm sparring all the time. I think sparring's the key. I'm sparring over 150 rounds for every fight in each camp. Top quality opposition. I don't think that's going to be a factor at all. I think Cazares will have to worry about me more than anything else, but I think I can adapt to any sort of style. He's one of these guys who he doesn't really have a style. He sometimes he goes backwards, sometimes he goes forward. He switch hits, so he'll be tricky, but I'll be able to suss him out.
Do you feel you have a bit of an advantage being younger? He's maybe a wee bit older than you.
Yeah, it's always an advantage, but he's a wily old fox. He'll have advantages in other places. He has a lot more experience than me, that's for sure. But I just believe. He thinks he can win our world title. He hasn't been beat yet at super bantamweight. He hasn't been knocked out since 1999, and I was a pup then. So if I stop this guy, it's going to be a big statement.
It's in Belfast. You promised the fans another fight in Belfast, and you've delivered. So how key is that for you?
It's massive, and it was a big factor. It was hard work to get it to Belfast. people are becoming more aware of what the atmosphere is like here, and they don't want to come unless they're getting paid big money. And we had to do that. We had to pay him big money, top dollar, to come, and he's coming. So it's good. You know, I want my big fights to be in Belfast. I've always said that. I've got a loyal, loyal fan base here. But we'll do our best to bring everything to Belfast, and world title fights as well. We want them to be here, but sometimes that it doesn't always work out the way you want it to be. But we'll always do our best. You know, defeat Cazares, defeat Santa Cruz, and become WBC champion. And then after that, you can start thinking about massive fights. You've got it's just huge fights. There's a list of opponents I could potentially fight if I become WBC champion, and that's what I'm thinking about. You know, being involved in blockbuster fights. Mostly at home, but that's the sort of stuff that gets you, you know, makes you become a Hall of Fame fighter. Big names and big fights.
And of course, we saw Chuck here last week talking about the WBC conference. How special would that be if you were a WBC champion when that came here?
That would be amazing. Jake was at their last one in Bangkok, and you know, you've got Vitaly Klitschko and stuff walking around. Nigel Benn was out there, Jeff Fennick, you know, all amazing champions. So to bring them guys to Belfast, I think it would be special, and if I'm champion, it would be extra special too.
Here we go. This is Belfast. Carl Frampton, Hugo Cazares. Friday the 4th of April, live from Belfast. Live and exclusive here on Box Nation. Of course, if you want one of the greatest nights you're going to have at boxing, you've got to get yourself out to Belfast, whether it's to the Dockers clubs for the amateurs, or whether it's to the Odyssey for 9,000 watching that man Carl Frampton. There's nowhere like it in the world. It's a fantastic place. It's a terrific fight on paper. It's a guy who's had a couple of world titles at a lower weight, #1 WBC, puts you absolutely in a position that Santa Cruz has to come to the table. It's ideal, yes?
Well, it's the #1, #2 fighting for the chance to win the title. So there's no more honest way to get a world title shot, let's be honest. And he's fighting a guy who, he might be 35 years of age, getting on a little bit that way, but he's been a 2-time world champion. Since he lost his title, he's had 5 wins on the spin.
There we go.
So he's in good form. He's still a good fighter. It's a hard fight for Cal, but fighting in Belfast for anyone is a daunting task.
And also, he's coming off a heartbreak in many ways, okay? He smashes Kiko Martinez to bits. Kiko Martinez gets the fight against Johnny Gonzalez, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, he gets the fight against Gonzalez, and then suddenly...
No, it was
Johnny... Anyway, it doesn't matter. So Kiko Martinez...
Romario.
Johnny Romario. He wins the title against Johnny Romario, okay? Martinez then makes out or leads them to believe he's going to give them the fight. They sit in the room, and as he said there, they offer him 10 times as much money, and he says no. Anyway, Barry Jones is with me here. Now, we did say at 5:30 there'd be a competition. There was a competition. It ended at 6:45. It went mad. The competition was quite simple. We asked you via Twitter, either my account or the Box Nation account, to let us know what a fight would be called between Del Boy and Tyson Fury. There we go. We can see there people sending in stuff. Only Fools and Horses, The Road to Street Hammer, Fists of Fury. Oh yeah, some absolutely fantastic ones. In fact, we had thousands, literally thousands of them come in, and they were absolutely brilliant. But Barry and I, with Jim Bentley and 1 or 2 other people in here, decided that we'd narrow it down to the 3 winners. And here they are, the 3 winners, the 3 lucky people that will be getting pairs of tickets. Common Box ticket winners, here they are. They're back! Exclamation mark. That was from @PA_Ward. Well done, Patrick. Chiseled Fury. Well done, Mark, I think, @MLW_23. And we love this one. It's never going to work. Rumble in the Urban Jungle @Maravilla Tom. There were some absolutely brilliant ones. Some guy came up with one, and if it takes place at Upton Park, he said Eruption Park. We like that one an awful lot. But unfortunately, you didn't win, and we can't give you a ticket because you were a minute late. Honestly, trust me, check it. So thanks very much for entering. Those 3 guys get pairs of tickets. Barry, thanks for doing an awful lot of work tonight in the middleweight division, son. You did an awful lot of work. Well done.
It's an exciting division.
It is an exciting. Nice to speak to Gerald on the Skype.
I'm glad to see the Skype's working.
Yeah, not good to speak to Martin Murray. That's sad. Barry, thank you very much indeed. We're back next Monday, but this Saturday we've got an extravaganza for you. Tyson Fury lands on the planet Box Nation. Look at this and enjoy it.